The senator from South Carolina did an excellent job in his rebuttal to the President of the United States last night, but perhaps it was too good a job. He certainly struck a nerve. The leftists were in full-on attack mode, going after him because he dared to suggest that, you know what, maybe things aren't as bad as Joe Biden wants you to believe. Maybe this is all being used to gin up a bunch of emotion and create more division when there really need not be any. Listen right here to the Republican senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott.
People are making money and gaining power by pretending we haven't made any progress at all, by doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
I hear him. You probably hear him. But it's almost as though by saying that, and the fact that he's a black Southerner, it struck a nerve. And we saw it instantaneously on Twitter. The social mob came out against him. Look at this. I mean, everywhere you go, they're calling him Uncle Tim. Uncle Tim started trending on Twitter last night. Tim Scott gets called Uncle Tom by progressives, but he's really an Uncle Tim. And then you see black Americans, you aren't just working hard enough in this great country. Stop blaming the racism which is woven into the fabric of the nation your ancestors built for why you aren't successful. Good old Uncle Tim. And they go on and on. You know what? Because someone dares to speak up against the woke mob. And if you dare disagree, you will be called names. You will be shunned, you will be excommunicated, you will be deplatformed. This is what they do. This is their form of intimidation. And they want you to believe that America is a racist place because it fits the narrative, you understand, right? If they can get enough people convinced that America is a racist place, well, then suddenly you need reparations, suddenly you need many more social programs, and what do you get? Bigger and bigger government. Because that, do not forget, is the goal. We, the government, not we, the people. Listen again to Joe Biden in his joint address to Congress last night.
Our Constitution opens with the words, as trite as it sounds, we the people. Well, it's time to remember that we the people are the government, you and I.
And on top of that, he wants you to know that white supremacy is the biggest possible threat the United States of America could be facing right now. The terrorism from white supremacy. Forget Al-Qaeda or any of those actual terror groups. Here we go.
And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism. We're not going to ignore that either.
Okay. You know what? They're not going to ignore it because they're going to make that the main thread. And they're still out there trying to accuse anybody that supported Trump policies now of being a domestic terrorist. I'm going to get to that coming up. But first, let's go back to this whole idea of systemic racism. They're promoting this constantly. They're feeding it into the narrative that you're seeing in the mainstream media every single day, into university culture, into public school culture, into any culture. Anything they can get their hands on, they're going to promote this narrative. And this is what we heard yet again from President Biden. Systemic racism is the reason why you have police killing people. Listen.
My fellow Americans, we have to come together to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the people they serve, to root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system.
You know what? I'm sorry, but what about the other stuff that's going on? What about this woman? Did you see her, Jessica Bouvet, right, out of Queens, New York? I think we get the video. She's on there talking about how she hates police on social media over and over again and how she wants to kill them. And there's a whole bunch of obscenities involved in her language as well. She's drunk. You can see her there taking a shot and saying this.
See you guys next Monday at 6:30 p.m. back here on Face of Reality Radio on the Instagram and on the Facebook. And until then, the police.
And then what does she do? She goes out and she kills a cop. She drives drunk and kills a cop. I'm sorry, but we need to empower our law enforcement to be able to do their jobs, whether it's the folks at the border that need to be able to arrest illegal migrants, whether it's police officers that are trying to prevent another young woman from getting stabbed to death. And now he comes under criticism because Ms. Bryant, unfortunately, that's a tragedy, has passed away. But we have to understand that there's got to be a certain level of expectations in communities, that you're not out shooting cars at 13 years old at 2:38 in the morning. What if somebody had died in one of those cars? Is there no ability for them to look at it through the eyes of law enforcement? Of course there isn't. You know why? Because they want to manipulate, they want to divide and conquer, and their rhetoric is extremely dangerous.